Hello, my name's Graham Morgan. This is the Jeans Bothy Comfort and Disturb podcast. Jeans Bothy is a mental health and well-being hub in Argyll. And today I'm talking to Dave about restraint when you're very distressed. A warning for our viewers, this can be very triggering. We're talking about physical restraint and suicide and things like that. So do turn off if you don't want to watch that. However, before we do that, Dave, I've known you for a wee bit, but do you want to tell us something about who you are, what makes you tick?
I like quietness, and you don't often get that in the Bothy, but I still like coming here.
It's a difficult question.
It's a difficult question, yeah, because I answered it before, but I was trying to do something different this time. I like art, and I like creating art, whether that's like painting or sculpture. Which
I love your sculptures.
I'm working on a sculpture at the moment.
Is that the one I saw in the shed?
Yeah, I've done it's a Highland cow I'm doing.
All right.
And I'm starting with the head. So I'm just putting all its character in features to make it look amusing.
That sounds brilliant. I love your sculptures. Yeah. And I so much wanted to win the one in the raffle, and I never did. I was most disappointed.
Oh, well, there'd be another one, I'm sure.
Anyway, that's completely off the subject of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about a serious subject, which is about being restrained. We're not going to talk about the reason so much that you're restrained, but we are going to talk about the last time this happened. And I'm hoping you can tell us something of the story of when it started in the community to when you ended up in the waiting room at hospital.
Okay, so I'm going to have to mention the reason behind it all, because otherwise it won't make much sense. So I was struggling after COVID. My business was really struggling, and I couldn't afford the rent where I was staying. So I moved in with a friend, and she lives in a remote glen. And she was having a lot of trouble with her partner, and so I was looking after the children a lot, and it got more and more. I was looking after them more and more, like every weekend, weekdays. And with my business going down the plug hole, and stress was building, and I just flipped. I took an overdose and lots of homemade wine, and I made a mistake of contacting her and saying goodbye, and then she was like, well, why? And I said, well, I've done this and that, and so she said she's coming back, and I said, well, if you come back, I won't be here. And so I escaped out up the hill, the steep glen, and I kept falling down, and then I was ill. I know I was ill a few times, and I remember I drifted off, and then I woke up, and then I looked down, and I could see a police car in the yard and her car and that, and then they spotted me because I was the only one that wasn't a sheep on the side of the hill. And the police came up, and they detained me and took me back down. But from that point, no one was listening to me. I was sitting in the living room, and they were testing blood pressures and everything, and they're saying, "Oh, you've taken 6,000 milligrams," and I'm going, "No, definitely not taken that much." And they were coming out with all these packets. I said, "Yeah, but those packets were sitting there for months, months worth." And I said, "I've been sick. I'm okay. You don't need to do any of this." And they took me away in an ambulance to an assessment centre, and then from the assessment centre to Paisley Hospital to have a blood test done. And while I was in the hospital, nobody came to see me for about an hour. I just got up and walked out, and walked down to Paisley train station, got a train back to Glasgow, checked my phone battery was nearly dead. Last message from my friend saying they sent police helicopters out and search dogs for you, just give yourself up. And I was trying to type it, I'm coming back, and the battery went dead.
Yuck.
So, and it was, by then it's like, it's really late, and I've missed the last train back, and I went looking for a policeman to give myself up, and because that's what they're asking me to do. And couldn't find any, so I knew there was a panic button up near St Enoch's, and it's busy with people still, but it's dark and it's not well lit.
Yeah.
And I pressed the panic button, and this really loud voice came back asking me to.
So everyone could hear you.
And everyone could hear me, so everyone knew I was in distress and that I was like not wanting to be mugged. So it's funny when I think back about it. It's quite amusing, you know, even though it wasn't at the time. But then they sent a police van out and got me and got the story from me, and then they had to contact a different police force altogether, because that was like Glasgow city centre, and had to get transferred over, and I was then taken back to where I was staying. It was about 5:30 in the morning when we got there, and it was that really light mizzle rain.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And so I knocked on the window, and my boyfriend looked out and came to the door, and I says, "Oh, come on, let us in. I'm really getting wet out here." And he said, "You can't come in. I don't want you here anymore," and slammed the door in my face. So I ran round to the other door, and he cut through to the other door and made sure that one was locked. But he did eventually come out, just to tell me to bugger off. You know, you can't stay here. If you don't go, we're going to call the police and all this. And I got into a bit of a struggle with him. I went back. I had a key for the shed where my bike was, and I was going to go. And then the police arrived. They said, I heard them say to the police, he's going to set fire to himself. I'm not going to set fire to myself. God, if it was that easy, I would have done it. Put into the back of a police van, but not on the seat, just sort of like bundled in.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
On the floor then?
Yeah. Actually, before that, when they went into the shed where I was, I picked up a Stanley knife, and they're shouting at me to put it down, and I went
On
like
your
that.
wrist. Yeah.
And if you like black comedy, then this will make you laugh. The knife was blunt. Stanley knives are never blunt, are they?
Not really, not very often. So did the police disarm you?
It said me to throw it to the ground, so I did afterwards. And then they cuffed me immediately. I think an ambulance was called as well when the police was called and the fire engine was called.
Because because of the threat of fire.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then I was put in the back of the police van, and the ambulance guy had checked me and it wasn't very deep, so he said it's all right. Back of the police van, back to the assessment centre, and then they said no, he's got to go to hospital, and then they took me to Garton Able, to the hub.
So the police and the people seeing you, how did you find them when they were assessing you and restraining you?
I think you get treated under one blanket, You know, you don't get treated any different because you're having a mental breakdown to somebody that's just shoplifted. I think you get the same treatment. But I understand that. I do understand that. But I just wish they were less rough on me, you know, for how I was. I know that they're just doing their job, aren't they? They're doing what they're told. It's the same with the nurses.
Yeah.
They're all really great people, really, and the police people. Once you come out of that state, you know.
So you're in the waiting room.
Yes.
What happened then?
So I was in there for a wee while. There was actually another guy in there who dribbled more than he spoke. I found that a bit off-putting. So I was in there for a while, and then they came and said, right, your room's ready. So they took me to my room, and they locked the door, and I was like, by then I was starting to get really angry because I was angry with myself for failing and allowing to be captured, restrained, taken away.
Yeah.
I was so angry, and there was a mirror on the wall. Now, it wasn't a mirror like we have, you know, glass. I thought it was. But when I ripped it off the wall in rage, it was like a vinyl.
All right.
You could roll it up. So with all that noise going on, they came into the room and I managed to get out.
Yeah.
And I ran down it's weird because how I remember it didn't look anything like that. But anyway, I ran down the passageway, and the door was locked. It was a glass door. To my side there was a fire extinguisher in a box, but the door seemed to be locked, so I just pulled the whole thing off the wall.
Yeah.
And I was just about to swing and take it at the door, and then I noticed a very large group of nurses behind me because they had hit the panic button. So they come from all different wards.
Yeah.
I know this because I've seen it so many times. So they took me back. Well, I agreed to go back.
Yeah.
You know, and they asked me to put the fire extinguisher down, and I just chucked it to one side. I actually, when I pulled it off the wall, there was the nurse that was in the room with me, a guy, and he went like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, blimey, he thinks I'm going to hit him.
Oh.
And I remember saying to him, I'm not going to hit anyone, I'm not going to hurt anyone, I just want to go home.
Oh, yeah.
So once I'm back, I then woke up a day or so later.
So what happened? Did they inject you or something?
Well, I think that's what they had done, yes, because I was taken back to the room, and I remember lots of people, and then the next thing I know, I'm laying on the floor, on the mattress or on the floor. All my furniture's gone, just left with a mattress and feeling really strange.
And that carried on to constant obs, didn't it?
It did, yes.
So what's that like? I sometimes make a joke with you about those of us who've been watched going to the toilet sort of know how to select the right nurse to go to the toilet in front of, which is a very grim thing to say, but
I know,
strikes a chord,
horrible.
doesn't it?
It's worse than horrible. It's inhumane. They watch you all the time. There's somebody, and they have obviously shifts, so there's always somebody different coming in. And what they do is they had one door open, and then they have a chair, they're quite big heavy chairs, in the doorway, and someone's sitting there watching you. And if you go to the toilet, then they get up and follow you in, or stand with the door open. And that really upset me.
How would you describe it? What's the
Humiliating.
feeling? Humiliating.
Yeah, absolutely humiliating. when you ask them, can you not just
Look somewhere else.
look somewhere else? So there's nothing in here that's going to harm me. Just can you not just close the door?
Yeah.
So that went on for quite a while. So
Quite a few weeks, wasn't it?
mm.
Do you think it was needed?
No, because was given an oral medicine, and that really affected me. Really numbed me down. You know, I was like, so. What was the question?
It was you were talking about the medication you were taking. I remember you telling me about this before, that it really knocked you out.
It knocks you out, and also I couldn't work out why I started shaking so much.
Yeah.
And the shaking was getting worse and worse. And every time I asked a nurse or my psychiatrist what's happening to me, it's just a wall of silence. He didn't say anything. And then it got really bad because I was trouble walking. I was just shuffling my feet, just not really getting anywhere fast. And I was still on 24-hour obs, and I didn't really need to be because I couldn't do anything if I wanted to.
Yeah. And you did eventually find out about the side effects.
I did, because I started getting a bit used to it. The cloudiness had gone, but the shaking and the shuffling was still there. And every evening at 10 o'clock, well, 9:30, you'd have a piece of toast, and then you go and get your meds. And I asked the charge hand nurse who was there for the data sheet for the tablets, which is a great long piece of paper like that. And a lot of the symptoms that were mentioned I was experiencing, and that's all they had to say. All they had to say was just a side effect of your medication. You're on that strong medication for 30 days, and then you'll go on to half dose, and you'll start noticing that you're shaking a calm.
So if you'd known it was going to change.
If I'd known, I wouldn't have been so. It was just an extra thing to worry about.
Yeah.
I know there's people that are there that wouldn't benefit from knowing. You know, they're either very violent or they just don't care. But there are people like me who go through that and don't understand what's happening.
So you'd have liked to have had it explained.
Yeah, in some way.
And I know you have mixed feelings about it, but you've told me in the past that you think that stay in hospital kept you alive.
Yes, it did. I was in for 6 months, mostly because I became homeless while I was in, so they can't release you until they find a new home for you. I took up jogging, and I was doing 10k twice a week, just around the grounds, go out every morning, do at least 5k, and then I would do maybe a Wednesday and a Sunday or something. I would do the 10. It's good for you, jogging.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I put on a lot of weight. I hurt my knee. I was doing jogging when I came out. I hurt my knee, and I had never got back into it again.
Yeah. Now I see you quite often here, and when I see you, I always smile because I'm so glad to see you. Do you want to tell me about a typical day nowadays?
Typical day here always starts with a coffee. I usually I usually cycle up, but I have a friend who helps me out a lot. When Greg. Oh, I said Craig. So sometimes we walk up together or sometimes meet here, but we always have a coffee before we do anything at all. So you asked me today about the garden, and it's the winter, and I said, well, weeding and planting bulbs, planning for how we're going to do it, the garden for this summer.
And the shed is a marvel. I love that shed. I only saw it into it recently, but it's so well organised.
I've made it into a workshop with permission. I asked for permission to see if I could do welding and that here.
So you do your sculpture there too?
That's why I'm doing it, yeah. So I get Greg to wire brush stuff down so it's a bit cleaner to work with. And I just make stuff up, but I'm doing a Highland cow. And I said it was only going to be small, but actually now I'm doing the head, it's going to be quite big.
That's really good. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's been a really powerful story you've given us. We're hoping, I think you're hoping too, that nurses and other people will see this too. Do you have a message for them if they were to nurse someone like you in the future?
Be a little bit more patient with the patient. Excuse that. Not all patients will be easy to work with. Some are going to be really nasty, but they don't even realise they're being nasty. I understand you have to work as a group and protect yourselves and that, but it would really be helpful if someone asks you, why am I feeling like this? Just say to them, it's been medication. And it's always stronger when you first come in, and then they reduce it and you'll start to feel a bit better. But I guess they can't say that because they're not told they can say that. So it has to go up a level or two, doesn't it? To change the way they treat people. Because they're only doing as they're told.
Because yes, you were saying earlier that the individuals you've come across have really had quite a lot of humanity to them, even though it's been hugely traumatic for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember you saying you still remember the restraint every day.
I do. I'm still on the side of the glen. I haven't been able to move on. They always, psychiatrist sees me, the first thing she always says, are you still feeling suicidal? And I say yes. Because I know that although I've come a long way, I only need a couple of bad days and I'm right on the edge again.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I do come here a lot, because it's a safe place for me.
It's a wonderful place, isn't it? And it is a hard life with this, isn't it?
It is a hard life. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad I've met you in my life. And it's good to be able to share some of these experiences too, because not many people have them, even though they are grim and dark.
It's good to be able to talk about it, instead of it just going round and round in my head and no one to talk to about. Yeah. So it's good. If anyone's feeling suicidal out there, please talk to someone.
Thank you. It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dave. It was a huge privilege to talk to you just now. That's the end of the Jean's Bothy Comfort and Disturb podcast for today, talking about the really serious topic of restraint and suicide. I hope it's helped you learn what we go through, and especially what Dave's gone through, and maybe help some of the professionals in how they might treat us in the future. Do tune in next time for another episode of the Jean's Bothy Comfort and Disturb podcast. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.